Okay, perfect. It's working. Well, hello, North Broward Prep students. I wish I could be in the classroom with you, just to meet you in person and get to see like what your work's gonna look like. But because I'm trying to finish my fourth year here at UF, I'm not gonna be able to do so. So, Ms. Berger asked me to make a video just kind of talking about my experiences and just some specific points she wanted me to hit about what participating in NHD is like. So, I'm excited to go through that. And by the way, my name is Mashley Flores still. I'm one of Mrs. Berger's former students who, was completely like kind of transformed by the NHD experience. I just want to share a little bit of that with you. So my initial thoughts about NHD, I'm like, there's no way I'm doing anything like this. I like science anyway, and who wants to be in a nerd festival for for history geeks? Like that's not happening at all. I had no desire to do it. I wasn't interested. If anything, I felt like it was going to be just a whole bunch of extra work. But it was only until Mrs. Berger made it very clear to me that you don't need to pick history topics that you think are right, but you can pick things that you're actually excited about and are passionate about in history. I really got pumped about participating in NHD. So that's one thing that I want to make sure you all are keen to as you're going through the history topics as Ms. Berger is teaching you. You're going to find things that kind of stick out to you and just captivate you, and that's usually the stuff that you should focus on and do your project on, obviously in line with the theme that NHD releases for the year. Yeah, like I said, it's huge to choose a topic that you're really, really passionate about, because if you don't, it's going to be very difficult to put in the amount of work required to produce a great project, because it's a lot of work, but it's so worth it. And it's exciting almost to expand your knowledge on something that you're passionate about. So make sure you pick something that you're actually going to enjoy, when you're doing your NHD project. Senior year, for the project that actually won first place at States, I almost, when I was in the beginning stages of deciding what I was going to do for my project, my best friend and I were thinking about working together, which would have been cute and would have been fun and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I still had weaknesses from the previous year that the judges had told me about, that I realized that she, wasn't able to kind of help me with. And she had weaknesses that I couldn't really help with either. So I ended up going with the partner, one of my classmates who had great like technological skills and was great with computers and great with editing skills. So, and that ended up working out great. We got first place. So all that to say, it might be more fun to, work with a best friend or work with somebody that you know really well. But honestly, I feel like it not only like broadens your horizons in terms of meeting people and getting to know other people, to work with somebody who's not like necessarily a best friend, but I also think it's just a lot better for producing the best project. Because if you're going to work this hard, you want to put your best foot forward. And so the key to that is going to be getting somebody who has strengths where you are weak. So I knew that I, could do the script part for my documentary. I could do, getting the content information together, but trying to produce something, trying to edit just was not my thing. So I partnered up with my partner, Dane, who we ended up being really cool after that anyway. And he just really just knocked it out of the park with the editing. So all that to say, do your best to pick somebody who has strengths where you're weak, as opposed to a best friend, because it might be more fun to work with a best friend, but again, it's not going to make for the best final product that you can make. Primary sources are everything. And I remember when Mrs. Berger used to grade my sources, especially when I first started with NHD with her. And I would get marks off and points off for not having primary sources. I didn't really get it at the time, and I was just like, oh, why is she being so picky? It's not that serious. But it actually is that serious, just because of the fact that this skill of using primary sources, I cannot tell you how much it transfers in to how you do research in college for every single class. Like I have been in classes about, my diversity credits, about like disabilities, down to like my entomology classes, down to my biology classes, where I've ended up writing, and they will accept nothing but journal articles and stuff from institutions. Like it has, primary sources are everything. And so when Ms. Berger starts pushing and starts taking points off from all of you as you try to kind of navigate how and what exactly is a primary source, just take the criticism as it goes, because it's going to make you better. It's constructive criticism, because this skill that you're using now, being able to research, is going to be huge in college. I'm telling you, it's everything. I just took an entomology class. An entomology class is about bugs. And even in that class, like, they took nothing but journal articles. Like, I wasn't allowed to use anything else. So please take her advice and in terms of learning how to use your primary sources, definitely for the project, because NHD is so serious about having primary sources. But just so you know that these skills are much bigger than NHD, they transfer over to your college career as well. So definitely take your primary sources seriously. Listen to Mrs. Berger, ask questions if you need to, do your own research, and it'll be great. Um, the interview. If you know what your topic is, or you know what you're super passionate about, and you know the NHD theme, I highly encourage you to start looking at the local universities, to secure interviews with professors and possibly people who are involved with the information that you will be researching as soon as possible. And I can give you my personal testament to two reasons why I say that. One, because when we ended up matriculating to nationals, when we got first place at state, so we qualified to go to nationals. I tried to like last minute like go to a professor at Broward College, and I got to C2, got the interview, but trying to put it in the video like in terms of editing was extremely difficult, and it just we had a hard time like playing it on the day of the competition, so that was super frustrating. Had I done that in the beginning, my project would have been all the more strong and all the more like well presented on the day of nationals. So it was really frustrating to experience that. And two, I ended up emailing a bunch of people from the Brown versus Board case, and one of them actually replied. But by the time she replied, it was way too late. We were already getting ready to go to national. So we could have done a Skype interview. It would have been great. Like that would have been a huge, distinctive mark of our project. But because I waited so long, I didn't get to do that. And we didn't get to perform at the best of our ability at national. So please, please, please try to get an interview right away. Start thinking of people who would have expertise on what you're talking about, and what you're looking forward to doing your project on. So definitely try to get an interview right away. Let's see, research and documentation. Again, research applies to every single class you will take at any university that you go to, from the little, random credits that you think that don't matter, to your science classes, to your outright writing classes, obviously your history courses. These things, these skills that you are learning as an NHD participant, they matter. They will transfer over directly to your ability to do research in college as well. And again, I can testify to the distinction between me, who I participated in NHD. I learned about primary sources earlier versus the students who didn't. So they always get points off on their sources. And I've literally seen this, I'm not kidding. I've seen people get points off. I've seen professors just not grade things that don't have the correct sources, just give outright zeros, because they didn't use primary sources. They didn't use a journal. They didn't, get information from an institution. They went on, random websites.com websites, and that's not going to cut it whatsoever. So please take this research component of the NHD experience seriously, because it makes all the difference, not just for your project, but long term in your collegiate career and into grad school and wherever life will take you. Research matters, so take it seriously. And then my favorite thing to talk about is our experience at state. So just to backtrack a little bit, the first year that I competed, I did kind of like a rinky-dink project. It was good enough for the skill set that I had. Again, that's why I needed a partner the next year who had strengths where I was weak. I did a project that I thought was good. And we went to county, and I ended up not placing at all. And that was so frustrating. And I remember breaking down and crying and just being super frustrated. And Mrs. Berger, by the way, she loves y'all so much, and she's so invested in seeing you be the best that you can be. So hang on to her. She was crying with me. We were just like so discouraged because we had worked so hard on this project. But you know what? She told me, like, hey, Mash, next year we're going to be back at it again, and we're going to do our best to make something awesome. And so that kind of like sparked a fire in me. It's like, what? That's true. I'm not going to give up because it didn't work out the first time. I'm going to try hard. So senior year comes, and, we start going through the 60s, and then Mrs. Berger, hits Brown versus Board, and it just, captivates me. I'm like, oh, what in the world? This is amazing. Like, education would not be where it is without this case. So this is something that I want to do. But again, so as I'm thinking, all right, I'm starting to gather sources and stuff. I'm thinking, should I work with my best friend or should I work with Dane? And I ended up working with Dane, and we produced a beautiful project. We went to county again, senior year, and we placed second, I believe, which qualified us to go to states, because first and second place at the county level go to states. So we went to states, and we presented our project, and I'm grinning ear to ear because literally to this day, this is one of the greatest experiences of my life. And we present our project to a bunch of different people, but I definitely just kind of felt in that last interview like, man, we just nailed that. That I know they could see our passion, and I know they could see how excited we were about this project. So we get to the award show, and we're competing against some like big name schools, and so they get to our category, and like all these other schools are rolling like 10 and 20 deep. Like they have rows and rows of people. We are so small. It's only like five of us, Miss Berger, myself, Dane, and then like a parent and another student who was competing. So it's just the five of us like sitting on the floor in the back somewhere, just like this tiny little group. And they get to our category, and they say third place. They don't say our names, and they say second place, and they don't say our names. But then they get to first place, and then they say Brown versus Board of Education, and like Dana and I just kind of froze. And I look at Mrs. Berger, she's like, "That's you," and we just absolutely lost it, jumping up and down, because remember, it's only five of us, jumping up and down, absolutely ecstatic about the fact that we had won, and just that the hard work had paid off, that people got our passion. So it was honestly one of the most beautiful experiences that I've ever had. I'll never forget it. And then getting to travel to nationals, that was absolutely incredible. And just to have like the whole kind of school family come behind you, which is special at a smaller school, just like y'all have. Everybody just kind of rallies around you and is just thrilled at the fact that you're going. So all that to say, it was amazing, and I'm hoping that all of you can kind of catch the vision of what NHD is all about. It's so much bigger than history nerds. It's so much bigger than, parts of history that you're not necessarily interested in. You can pick things that you're passionate about so you can produce something that is incredible. That's something that you're proud of. To this day, I'm very proud of that project. I'm about to graduate from college, and it still means the world to me because I remember how much it took. I remember, the disappointment that first year, but I remember the triumph that next year. And I also remember how Mrs. Berger was alongside me and correcting me and strengthening me and encouraging me all the way through. So you have an amazing teacher. I'm so excited to see y'all's projects. Mrs. Berger has my contact information, so if you need to email me, go ahead and do that. It might take a little while for me to answer because once classes get started, it gets kind of crazy. But I will answer, and I'm just so excited to see what y'all will do, where y'all will go beyond NHD. So if you have any questions, let Mrs. Berger know. I'm here for all of you, and I hope you do great. Bye.